I didn't know beans about homeschooling or unschooling. Didn't even know unschooling was a word. Never heard of, homeschooling. I thought was just some elitist, obnoxious, stupid movement that I didn't need to know about because I'm a public school reformer. And I was flabbergasted that, oh my God, these kids don't go to school and they're awesome. What? What? You can just not go to school and then they win the science. And then I was like, first, like, well, they're cheating. Of course they win the science awards. I mean, the debate thing, because they don't go to school all day. Of course they have extra time to win all those projects or whatever they do, right? But, I got over that pretty quickly and started really exploring and reading and doing a whole year's worth of figuring this out and realizing that homeschooling, unschooling was just a movement I didn't know anything about. There's lots of things I don't know about. People are vegans and people do home birth and people do all kinds of alternative cultural things that I don't know about that are perfectly, improvements over standard American culture. Okay. So homeschooling is that. Homeschooling is that improvement, that alternative thing that's better than the normal culture that none of us know about and we all think is something it's not. Oh, huh. Well, the thing to do with that information was not for me to quit my job and barge in on the homeschoolers and become the history guru of the homeschoolers. I had zero interest. There weren't enough of them. They weren't going to pay me. They didn't need me. They were fine without me. Barging in on the homeschoolers to make my life better was never part of the vision. What became the vision immediately, like Grace and reading all these books and talking to my friend Joshua, was we should quit our jobs and help all the school kids quit too and do this. How come everybody doesn't homeschool? Well, we know why everybody doesn't homeschool, because it's intimidating, it's misunderstood, it's overwhelming, it's daunting. And even if you do it, it's hard to sustain past the juvenile years, past age 11 or 12. Kids want separation from the parents, and, it's mostly a younger kids movement. We know all this stuff. And people knew it back in 1996 when this is going on, 95, when I'm doing my learning. So Josh and I were like, well, what would it take for us to quit our jobs and help all the kids who want to quit too? And as long as we're doing that, we'll help all the kids from all the other local schools do it too. Well, this is not rocket science. We're going to rent a little office where kids can gather during the day. We're going to become experts in how to file homeschooling papers so everybody can legally get out of school and be free and independent. We're going to, in our little cozy center, offer classes and tutoring and advisories and, help people make the most of it and have a nice, pleasant, social place where kids can be as long as they're nice to each other. But we're going to do this on our terms, which means no one has to come. We're not a school, and technically everybody in Liberated Learners are not schools. We are community centers or resource centers or whatever word you choose to use. We're programs. We're coaching families to file homeschooling papers for that one kid in their family who can't stand school. They may have multiple kids who are doing fine in school, and it's the one kid in every family that we're after, okay? These parents do not see themselves as homeschooling parents necessarily. These are not lifelong homeschooling people for the most part. 80% of the kids I've worked with are the kid in the family who hit the wall in junior high or early high school and whose parents were willing to listen to this alternative idea. But they were not homeschooling before. They may have only done North Star for a year or two and gone back to school after a year or two out, or they may have stayed out for the duration while their siblings continue to go to school, while the parents continue to work in schools. We're not, saying nobody should go to school. My own two children who are now 24 and 21 chose to go to school. Though my daughter has her own path, which I'll tell you about later if we get to it. But so we're not going to be a school, and kids don't have to come. And when I teach my history class, they don't have to come. So if they don't want to come listen to me or be part of my group, good. All right, just leave me alone and let me teach to the 7 kids who do want to hear about what we're doing or read the thing or be part of it, right? And when there's a rock band, if they don't want to go, they shouldn't go, right? It's like the senior center. It's not very complicated. We do this everywhere in the rest of the world other than school. We have activities, people go to them if they want. We don't have grades, we don't have homework, we don't have assignments. I mean, there's homework if it's naturally obvious that there'd be things to do in between sessions. It's very simple. You can't graduate from North Star. We don't have credits or diplomas. If you need to, most of the kids go into college and they do so very simply by starting with community college during their teen years. If they need a diploma for some reason, they mostly get the GED or the high set in our state. Some of them are, rally to the homeschooling cause and make their own homeschooling diplomas, but mostly we're talking about kids getting the GED or just going to college without one and getting their associate's degree and moving on to 4-year school, and never bothering with the stupid high school diploma. Turns out there's nothing you really need a high school diploma for, and that the GED is not 100% useful for and covering. So I tell people you don't even need a high school diploma. It's not worth the paper it's printed on. If you want to go to high school, go to high school. My kids went to high school. I went to high school. I would not have opted out back in the day, in the 80s. But if you don't like high school, don't go. It's not a big deal. It's like not going to summer camp. Who cares? So don't go. Get a grip.